Let's try to explore this value of accommodation today through the workshop. Asking oneself this question: am I accommodative in my behaviors? What is the meaning of being truly accommodative? Do I accept people fully as they are, or do I resist myself while accepting or accommodating them? And also from today's workshop, let's try to go to the subtle level of accommodation, whereby people behave the way they want to behave very differently from what I expect, which I shouldn't be. So at a thought level, am I able to accept and accommodate the way people are? And implying to self that everyone is a unique being. So with this, let's start the workshop today. Welcome all of you, all the participants and the translators and the recorders. And also we have with us Sister Shruti, who is the co-facilitator with me today. She's joining from the West Coast of USA. So as always, let's begin. It's workshop 96. Sister Tina will be joining us soon. And let's begin. As always, we have the icebreaker video first. I hope it plays from here. If not, I'll just go to the YouTube and play it. I'll just share it separately. Thank you for the comment. Awesome video. So if you all can just also share what are the insights which you all have got from the video related to today's value. You can start typing in the chat box. We have around 4 minutes. Absolute silence still. Okay, I think it's more about adjustment, Sister Rena. Yes, thank you for starting the conversation. Yes, it's adjusting, which is closely related to being accommodative. Yeah. Okay. Anyone is motivated to speak, you all can, because we have time. I'm not missing something in the chat. Yeah. So Mahesh is saying we need to accommodate sometimes to move forward. Yes, absolutely. I think if you want to move forward, we have to accommodate people. Yeah, a fantastic revelation. Mr. Vidhi is saying there's no option to end. There's no option to end to everyone. Yeah, I mean, true. We get the point that there is no other option. If you're on the track there, you have to adjust. There's no option other adjustment. Denise is saying, I'm not sure who to chat to. Oh, okay, sorry. Oh, am I getting messages to you? I'm so sorry. Good sister Denise, you got it. You're able to do it to everyone now. Okay, so now the settings have changed. Thank you for highlighting so it. We know it. Yeah, okay. You want to share something about the video? Sister Denise, go ahead in the chat box. Okay. We are being very accommodative to your silent behaviors. Okay. So Denise is saying sometimes the solution is obvious, but we may not be able to see it. Interesting. Buldane is saying we have to make others' life easy, otherwise life becomes a hell both for both of us. Yeah, absolutely. Nisha is saying if you're a leader, a positive attitude draws people to your side and encourages them to do their best work. Yes, of course. Mr. Dennis is saying have to see how we can accommodate each other. Yes. Because there are many instances in life you have to adjust and accommodate people as they are. So each to his own. Sister Balwinder, welcome. After a long time, we are seeing you. Maybe if you want to share quickly in the chat or orally, would be good. Okay, Sister Denise is again, when we have that intention of accommodation, the solution will also appear. Yes, of course. It's just one thought away. Sometimes I feel that we find, oh, why should I adjust? And we think a lot about it, but I think it's just one thought away. Just adjust, things become easy. Okay, Portuguese, Brother Manuel is saying creativity makes it easier to accommodate. Yes. Okay, and Nisha is saying we'll share the link with you all in the. Maybe we'll do it right away in the chat box. Give me some time because I'm busy seeing things. I'll do that in a minute or so. And yeah, Sister Balwinder, the question is about the icebreaker video, which I probably think you missed. So I think our time is up. No worries. Thank you for starting the conversation. And over to you, Sister Shruti. Thank you.
Thank you, Manoj. Um, with that lovely video, and of course, we're already starting to get into that mode of accommodation. So what we're going to do in this part of the workshop is to start to reflect on a situation where somebody was accommodative to us. So what we want you to do is to reflect on a situation where someone in your life, could be parents, it could be a family member, it could be seniors at work, your co-workers, somebody accommodated your shortcomings and accepted you wholeheartedly. So reflect on a situation, and when we come back, what we are going to discuss is what were the advantages or what were the benefits that was gained with them being accommodative to you? And therefore, what are some of the advantages of being accommodative or, practicing this value of accommodation? So again, I'll play very light music for about a minute or so for you to reflect. Reflect on the situation, but we'll come back and discuss what were the advantages, what good came out of that, and what are the advantages of this value. if we are ready to share. I'm already seeing some chat messages. Somebody like to share some of their thoughts? Denise, would you like to get us started? I see you there. Are you able to unmute? Nickelback, could you
I can
change
now.
the, yeah.
Just to get it going a little bit, I'm
Sure.
thinking of my own mother, and I'm thinking how mothers are so accommodating. And sometimes when I have gotten a bit irritated in the past or something like that, my mum has been extremely accommodating and hardly even noticing that I was like that. And on that backdrop of pure accommodation, then I notice my own weakness, and it makes it easier to see because it's very clear and pure from my mother's side, and yeah, it makes it easier for me to make an effort to change.
Very nice. It's more clear where we are lacking, and therefore the effort becomes easy. That's beautiful. Thank you for getting us going. Anybody else? Sister Rana, I see you. Would you like to go next?
Yeah, actually, yeah, the sister is right about mother. I mean, usually parents are accommodating because we are children and they are also bound by duty. So they anyway accommodate and they correct us wherever a correction is required. But from my experience, apart from my parents, everybody, all my relatives, all my classmates in school, college, they were all very accommodating because I used to feel that a little bit out of place wherever I went, but they were very accommodating.
We lost you. I think we lost our internet. While we wait for her, would anybody like to go? Would anybody else like to share? It is a workshop, so we learn from each other. So please do share.
Yeah, can I share, sister?
Yes, please go ahead with the sister. Yeah.
So, like my husband and my daughter, they are
Mhm.
so loving, so non-judgmental. So that makes me realize that though I have so many, weakness, so that makes me realize that I can overcome them faster without being judged. So that will improve. I can be a better person. Otherwise, there's little stress. There's always somebody on you full time commenting. So that makes you a little lower. So this enhances and empowers me that I can change and I will because the family is so supportive.
Very
Yeah.
nice. Very
Thank
nice.
you.
It allows you to change. It makes you feel more accepted. No nagging. Very nice. Anybody else? We still have a few minutes. I'm seeing a few chat messages come in, but I want to save that till the end. I do hope you consider just unmuting and sharing it with.
Sorry,
Yeah.
if we want somewhere, have to make something to do to become easy at that there, so that if we make our accommodation, yeah, what will not have to do, so that life will be easy. Because if we go there without making any arrangement, any accommodation, who knows what kind of problem are waiting for us. So that we have to search, we have to examine, and we have to make the life easy, making accommodation. Okay, thank you.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you, Sister Gulden. Sister Ren, I see you're back. Would you like to finish your thought?
Yeah, sorry about that. My PC went to sleep without warning. So I was
Where is
saying,
this? Well, as long as you're awake.
all my relatives, all my classmates, and I remember that during my days of study, both school and college, the scenario was not what we see now. There was no cutthroat competition. There was no comparison. There was only cooperation and accommodation. At its highest level. Okay, so I was fortunate enough to be in school and college during those days, and I still remember those days. And those people, and we have our groups, and they still, we still support each other, and that was the way it was then and now. So, but this generation, I don't see that much. I mean, they're all, competing with each other. They are pulling each other legs, trying to pull them down, and all those things. And it really saddens me that they don't, the generation of this time, they don't have. Somebody has stopped my video. I don't know. Okay,
But sister,
the generation these days.
Yeah, sorry, I
and
did your because you were cutting off a lot. So because you have low bandwidth, so just try without the video on.
Okay.
Just keep.
and
Sorry for that.
that's so beautiful, Sister
Okay.
Rena. How did that affect you? Like, what were some of the
Yes.
advantages you gained?
Yes, I'm coming to that. The advantage was that, I mean, I was very happy. I mean, I could go through school and college without any much issues because I could count on them. Okay, and whatever weakness I had, they were more than willing to help me out with that. So it was an easy life then. But now,
Very
I don't
nice.
have, I miss that. But I wish the generation today, I mean, the current generation had that in the school and college. I really wish for that. And
Very
I try
nice.
to be that with, and I try to do my best with whoever I deal with and give them whatever I have received from my classmates and colleagues.
Right. Very nice. Very nice. Sister Balvinder, I see you there. Would you like to share something? Yeah, please go ahead. Sorry, we can't hear you.
Om Shanti ji, good morning,
Good
dear
morning.
lovely family. Thank you.
Om Shanti.
For myself, when I came here almost 30 years ago, each time I went for job interview, I was failing. Almost 5 to 6 times I failed job interview. But
Okay.
finally, due to my extreme interest and love for and my passion and love for teaching and learning, I was hired by my principal. She knows she does not have any experience in Canada, even though she has experience in India. But because of my love for learning, I was hired. And advantages are uncountable, uncountable. I'm speechless. Finally, biggest advantage is I found your class. Thank you. Thank you.
Om Shanti. Would anybody else like to share? Let me, in the meantime, start reading some chat messages that we've received, some beautiful sharings. I'm sorry, we don't have your name. It just says Om Shanti. Says somebody accommodating this person allows me to accept myself and move on with my life. So the feeling of acceptance. Marzilla says the Lokik mother accommodated, or my mother accommodated, the choice that I made with my food, which is vegetarian without onions and garlic, and also the need for silence by talking less and letting me be in the place where I could meditate in her house. It's beautiful. We do have a sharing from Lara. Brother Manuel, if you could translate that. Rajula says, I am the only child of my Lokik parents, and I moved to UK 25 years ago, and they accepted my choice and accommodated my decision. And Lara says, in a fragile situation, a colleague did not judge me. On the contrary, he understood me, welcomed me, and accepted me. I felt understood, lighter, and I started healing from that. That's beautiful. I think we might be able to accommodate one last sharing if anybody would like to. If not, we can also get into the summary. Would anybody like to share?
You interrupt, Sister Shruti, it's there. Brother Manuel has already translated. the
Yeah,
la-
I
la-
read that. I read that, yes.
I'm doing something else. Okay.
Anybody else would like to share? We did receive one more chat message. Mahesh says, my company accommodated me as I am, as I had a few technical shortcomings and gave me the opportunity to learn and grow. That's beautiful. Such a beautiful sharings, different people, different relationships, different situations. I think we can look at the summary. Deepak Bhai, would you like to share? Thank you. So some of the sharings that we got, there were two people who shared about their mothers being accommodative and their accommodation, just allowing things to be pure, and it felt like true virtue and helped bring about that change. Um, it, somebody else accommodating me helps me accept myself and move on in life. When family members are accommodative and non-judgmental, it's easier to transform. It's easier to be a better person. Beautiful sharing when classmates were accommodative and helped the individual progress in school, college, and just made life, those difficult years, growing up years, much easier. Again, the other sharing with mother accommodating when with switch to vegetarian food and just allowing that silence, and again allowing the ability to just grow and meditate in her home. Another sharing when the parents accepted the choice to move, and just I'm sure it made it much easier. Another one which was about love of teaching and learning and allowed the individual to get a job after so many years, again, felt more validation, felt the opportunity to grow, which was also reiterated in another sharing. And then again, that somebody else being accommodative helped me feel more understood, more light, and started healing. It's beautiful sharing. And with that, I'll hand it back to you, Manoj Bhai.
Yes, thank you. Wonderful. So let me just directly go on to the slide of meditation. Yes, so beautiful sharings which we learn from each other, because we really didn't know, like Mahesh mentioned about his technical field, because despite having technical shortcomings in his whatever profession, he was accepted and accommodated. Right. So we know people do accommodate us, as Rehna sister said, that at every space in our life, people are adjustable and accommodative. So as we proceed to the action planning, as always, towards the end of the workshop, we try to get some takeaways that what solid things we can do so that we can really inculcate that value fully within us. And for that, we always prepare ourselves with a meditation. So let's begin. As always, get the beautiful image in front of you. Sit back and look at the light that you are. The beautiful, conscient energy which I am. The more and more I'm situated in this light form, I start experiencing the lightness. And I start connecting myself, the inner light, to the supreme divine light. Supreme being, the divine being, is the ocean of accommodation, the ocean of adjustment. And the more and more I connect my inner light, the inner being, with that supreme being. Even I start becoming accommodative because I realize that as I am a being of light, every other soul also is the same being of light. And each one in this unique drama of life is playing their unique role. So let me accommodate each and every one with whatever behaviors they have. They are perfect according to the divine drama plan. And let me accept them unperturbed, undisturbed, and pass on this vibration of this beautiful next value of acceptance. That I accept you as you are. With this preamble, let's move on to the next exercise, trying to see what else can we do in our behaviors, maybe in thoughts, words, and actions, which will help us inculcate accommodative behaviors. So let me stop sharing and over to Sister Shruti. Over to you. Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, so we already have the prelude. We know what we are doing. We remember what it was like to be accommodated. We remembered in the previous exercise what it felt like to be accepted, to grow. We are grateful for a lot of people, a lot of situations, a lot of individuals who accommodated us. So in this next part of the workshop, just as Manoj Bhai was saying, what we're going to do is focus on some actual tangible ways that we can incorporate into our own behaviors. Maybe there are things that we are already doing. How do we make sure we continue to do that? How do we ensure that that continues to enhance? And if there are places where we can do better, what are those places? So again, a minute, minute and a half to reflect, and then we'll come back and share. Are you ready to share? So ways in which we can continue to be accommodative to others. Would anybody like to get us started?
Yeah, I
Please
think
go ahead.
for us to be accommodated and be accommodating others, okay? In both cases, I think the balance, as with everything else, the balance is very important, because some people sometimes people tend to overestimate us and think that we are very, very accommodating, but then we have to draw a line, because if we are too accommodating, it can backfire. Okay. Likewise, if we want to be accommodated as well, we need to know where to draw the line in expecting from others. But as much as possible, the first thing in accommodation is to try to find out what are the qualities in others. If it is in a leadership role, we need to identify what is good in others and what are their strengths and what are their good points, and use it in whatever if it is in home, or if it is in the workplace, or in the volunteer, the service field, anywhere. So if we develop that skill in identifying what is good in others, then we can be accommodating, because we know where to put that in use. So that is a number one skill we need to develop, so that we can be more accommodating.
Very nice. So two very important points there. Again, the balance and the boundaries. Where are we going to be accommodative and how much? And the second thing about looking at people's qualities, which again allows a lot more accommodation, a lot more acceptance, a lot more, even helps in clarifying some of those boundaries. That's beautiful. Couple of very strong points. Denise, I see you back. Can you do what did you like to share? You being able to unmute it? Yeah, go ahead, Denise.
For me, I'm realizing that if I'm too hard on myself, I will be hard on others. So the more I accept myself and my growing where I'm at, the more I can accommodate others, because sometimes there's some projection going on.
Very
So
nice.
yeah, so that's for me, as well as seeing the specialties of others, which Raina was mentioning. Om Shanti, thank you.
Very nice. First of all, accepting, accommodating myself and my weakness. Beautiful. Would anybody else like to share? I'm sure there are ways that we can continue to grow in this space. We do learn from each other. Oh, I see something in the chat again. I'll need help with translation. Anybody else like to share? We will get an opportunity to simply listen. With Sister Tina, I see she's already joined, but this is time for you to reflect and share, and we learn from each other, as I mentioned before. Okay, Balvinder says, I accommodate my old sanskars or my old habits. Very nice. So accommodating myself. Sister Vidhi says, be grateful and give space to others too, who have accommodated with our nature. Very nice. Thank you, Brother Manuel. Monica says, reinforcing and valuing the actions that bring benefit to everyone's well-being, always with respect to the way of doing things of others. So always accepting and respecting the way that they are doing things, and being valuing the actions that are bringing benefit to everyone. And Lara says, I think it's a shift in consciousness in reminding myself that we're all in the same boat and that we have weaknesses, and I must have mercy on myself and others to accommodate. That's beautiful. We have another minute or so. If anybody would like to unmute, I can read the sharings, but if any of you who's shared on the chat would like to unmute and share, we would love to hear you. Okay. The next sharing again, I don't have your name. It just says Om Shanti. Says, I need to understand that everyone has a story and past experiences, which definitely affects the present. So be merciful and accommodating that there is always a reason for someone's behavior. That's beautiful. There is a backstory. Rinki says compassion to love self and others. Very nice. Anybody else? Okay, if not, we can have the summary slide, Deepak Bhai. Thank you, Deepak Bhai. So, and there's one more sharing on the chat which says listening and understanding of our inner soul. So some of the action planning that we are taking away today, try to balance others, but not be too accommodative and not expecting too much from others. So again, that balance and really deciding how much is too much for me and places where I will accommodate. Looking for good qualities in others, especially when you're a leader, that allows you to focus on everyone's strengths. Accept yourself and see specialities in others. The first thing is all about accepting myself. If I can accept my weaknesses, I'm more accepting of others and start seeing good in them. I accept my old habits, be grateful, and I will give space to others who have accommodated me. Reinforce and value the actions that others are doing, which will benefit others. Always respect others' way of doing things. It's a shift in consciousness and reminding myself that we are all in the same boat. And I have mercy on myself and others, and need to understand that there's always a backstory, a past experience, and there's a reason for their behavior, compassion, and love for myself and others. There's one more in the chat from Karni saying acceptance and respect for the role of each person and empathy for them. Very nice. So I think with that, I will hand it back to you, Manoj Bhai.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for sharing it before time. Good. Actually, this time the content is not much which I have to share, but that's fine. We could explore. We'll try to see if we can finish early and then get to learn more and listen to more of Sister Tina. So let me just share the screen. And she's actually joined right from the beginning, and she's been patiently in the background listening to what we have been doing. So let us look at what churning points, a very few slides we'll be showing you all what these two very senior Raj Yogis had to speak, because they have a wealth of experience about dealing with so many people with different behaviors, different sanskars, different personality traits. And whatever they were sharing they were sharing from their personal experience. It was nothing hypothetical or bookish. So though the points or the slides which I have mentioned are just a few, we just have 2 slides and then we'll take the questions what we had asked them. But I think it was really the experience which was speaking. So we had Sister Hemlata, who was the Brahma Kumari's coordinator from Trinidad, and Sister Geeta, who is from Southern California. So let's see what they had to say. They started with about their life because they said that they dedicated their lives for a godly purpose. And then coming into knowledge, leading a life of absolute surrender and service for a higher purpose, there's actually no other choice, because you have really transcended all those other things, like looking at someone's mistakes, accepting and accommodating their mistakes. That really becomes very routine, because we have really done something. We have surrendered our life for a higher purpose. So these things hardly matter. And then they were sharing, I think this was shared by Sister Geeta, that we have to be like a detached observer. And I think on our workshops, we have been constantly touching upon this concept of how to practice being a detached observer. And we have done that quite a few times in one of our exercises in the Vihasa, that is values in healthcare, a spiritual approach. In the positivity module, we have a detailed layout of how to do this. This technique is called SOS. Since I have quite a bit of time today, let me just share how we do that. Excuse me. So SOS, everyone knows this short form as Save Our Souls. It's an acronym for that. But what we say in our positivity workshop, S stands for standing back. I mean, someone is doing something which I'm not liking. My mind is it's racing. It's very fast. The first S actually is stop, full stop. Tell your mind, please stop, and your mind will stop. And then after that, we go ahead in that S, which is also stand back. Don't consider yourself to be in that situation. Think that you are out of that, and then go on to O. O is observer, and observing it from the same level may not really help you a lot because you're still not in the situation, but somewhere around at the same level. So in Raj Yoga, what we teach is we have to transcend. We have to really go above, raise our thought process. Maybe connect with the divine as well, because connecting to the divine who is always at a higher level helps a lot. And the moment we raise our level of consciousness from this level where things are happening to a higher level, then when we look at that same situation, it turns out to be very small, as if there's nothing. So that's observing as a detached observer. And then the last S being steer, which means to change the direction of my thoughts, of my words, of my actions, whatever. And transforming it from being highly negative, highly critical, highly non-accommodative to something more adjustable, more accommodative. So that's transformation steering. So this is the technique which we do it as a visualization process. This I just did it with you all in a few minutes, but we do it over 10-15 minutes where people take their own time and see whether it's possible to do it. And it really helps a lot. Then here, Sister Hemlata mentioned about tolerance. I think this value and this power actually. So tolerance in Raj Yoga, we say is a value, obviously, but we have 8 powers. And of them, one of the power is power to tolerate. In Hindi, we say Sahan Shakti. And accommodation, though we are taking it as a value, but in Raj Yoga, it is also what we call one of the powers, Samane Ki Shakti, which means power to accommodate. So tolerance plays a very important role, Hemlata Devi said, in accommodating others. And we have to find out a way out for any situation. And that could be anything, each to his own. Every situation is different. And I have to find out my own solution because it's I who have to adjust. No one else can play my role. And also, to such an extent, I have to adjust so that others' routine does not get disturbed. And again, Hemlata sister said that when you start practicing both these, tolerance and accommodation, both these as virtues, they get converted into a power, which means the more I use a virtue or value in action, that's what we did action planning as well, the more that virtue gets converted into a power. And then I really feel empowered using it. And then that gets converted into or gets translated into an art of living. And then it just becomes my second nature. And then I don't have to think of, oh, I have to accommodate this one, I have to accept this one. And power of accommodation is nothing but accepting each other, adjusting with each other, all different words starting with A, but all boil down to the basic process of being accommodated. How to practice accommodation, a few tips. So Sister Geeta started that avoid conflicts, because when you are with people, you will always have conflicts. So you have to understand that each one is so different, their ability, their capacity, everything is different. So, and there will be conflicts because everyone thinks differently. So let's avoid that conflict, because conflict is a negative energy. And I'm sure there are many classes people want to hear on conflict resolution. I think the more and more you start practicing meditation, you really stay away from conflicts. That itself is a big resolution. They said, find the positive side of the situation. And yeah, this sister Hemlata said that she travels quite a bit. And she said that though I am a Raj Yogi, she honestly said that despite that, when I am waiting in a queue, particularly at the airport for a long time, I realize that there are many others who have the value of being patient more than me. So she said, I then feel that, yes, I need to develop more patience. Yes, I totally agree with her, because this is also one value which I think if all of us work on this value of patience, it can really go a long way in just inculcating any value. And it reminds me here of Dadi Janki. She used to say in Hindi, Sabar karo, dheeraj rakho. What's the big rush? Hang on, patient. And as we were discussing, that all the actors are unique in their own way. So accept everyone, have faith. And we are taught at Brahma Kumaris a lot of different types of faith. Faith in the self, that you are good, fine, but faith in others as well, that they also are very good. Faith in the Supreme Being. And most important, the fourth one being faith in the divine drama of life, that whatever is happening is just happening. If not perfect, if I don't like this, actually it's perfect. But if I don't, sometimes it becomes difficult to adjust this, not adjust, it becomes difficult to accept this, that how everything is not perfect. Why are people saying that divine drama plan is perfect? But at least I can apply a full stop to my racing thoughts by saying to myself that yes, everything in the divine drama plan is at least destined to happen that way. It's right, at least for that moment, for that instance. If not perfect, but it's right for that instance. And that will put immediate full stop to my racing thoughts. Let go of negative thoughts by filling ourselves, understanding that everyone's capacity is different. And like if I'm a fast person, if I'm used to working fast, I expect others also to be fast. But again, the word itself is a damaging expect. You really can't expect people to be as you are. Just accept their speed as well. People can feel inspired by you, but it doesn't mean that they will change. Very important realization. We are not sitting here to change anyone through our actions, thoughts, words. We only can change ourselves. And let's focus on being cooperative with everyone. So that's what they had to mention. Okay, question answer time. We have almost 8 minutes left. So the Gen Z, as quite a few people were mentioning, that the coming generations, the question was, they really want to be free all the time and they want their own space. They tell you directly, please don't come to my room, or as you leave my room, shut the door, blah, blah, all that. And it's not their fault, because they have been brought up in an environment where they have their own rooms and they want their space, so on and so forth. So how should we really help them to understand that, yes, power to accommodate, power to adjust is needed? So the answer to this was, we all go through such stages. So more important is to explain them that in freedom, there can be loneliness. I mean, not necessarily, but therefore that can, I have underlined and put it as italic. So they need to realize, but some people like lonely lives as well. And sometimes it's important to let go of their thought. I mean, let them be as they are. Let's not try to teach them, and do some what we call at Brahma Kumaris Mansa Seva. Keep sending vibrations of peace so that they can take the right decision which will help them in their life. And it's just a generation gap. I think this was said by Hemlata Didi. And parents need to understand that you can't give advice, particularly to your children. Be a friend to them, with them, listen to them, accept them as they are, and maybe sense good vibrations. Eventually, they will understand. Next question, as Sister Rena pointed out about having a balance of let not people try to take undue advantage of you, and try to strike a balance of till what extent can you keep accommodating. So the question here was, people tend to take undue advantage of us if we accommodate, to add here maybe a lot, if we accommodate quite a lot. So how do we deal with this? So I think, yeah, this was Hemlata Didi. She said, no one can take advantage unless you allow it. No, this was Sister Geeta who mentioned, yeah, sorry. And she said, be tactful where to do and where not to. So draw your own lines, because you know best what's your line of code of conduct, what we call in Hindi Maryada. And once you've done that, then don't be disturbed. Then you need to detach from the situation. Because allowing others to take advantage of us is our weakness. It's not their weakness. I need to remember. Because they're able to do that with me because there is something lacking in me. So it's an important realization here, which I feel. How do we deal with suffering from others' shortcomings and weaknesses? So, I mean, there's a limit to which I can just keep accepting and accommodating people's weaknesses. Fine, their normal behaviors are fine, but if they are weak and they have a lot of shortcomings, it affects me because it affects my workplace, my work culture, so on and so forth. So again, here they told us that do all this acceptance and accommodation business by being detached, but by also doing it in remembrance. And also thinking of oneself as an instrument. This consciousness, I think, is a big revelation which I found in Brahma Kumaris only. I've never heard it anywhere. But consider yourself to be an instrument as a medium. It's not you who are doing, it's not you who are accepting or accommodating. Because if I put myself that I am doing it, then I feel drained out. But if I'm doing it as an instrument and in the remembrance of the divine, then I'll be more relaxed and I will be able to let go easily. And obviously, we can't keep these expectations that, oh, we are accepting you, your shortcomings, so you better do good for us. No. But at least when we move from expectation to acceptance, we are sending more positive vibes. And that in turn is uplifting other people. Right. And then a question was about borders, that how there are a lot of border issues among various countries in the world, and there are wars as well going on, we know that. So how can countries be taught to accommodate each other? Quite a difficult one, that can we teach someone to accommodate? And when we say country, it's really all the political people who are involved. It's very difficult to convince anyone for that matter. Even you can't convince your friend or your spouse or your kid. Think about someone who's at such a position of politics. So here, Hemlata Didi said that let's be neutral, because let's not take sides here. It's very important. And she said that we are now, after having started our journey on Raj Yoga, we know that we are the children of Supreme. So we can't take sides. And then Geeta Didi added to this that along with not taking sides, let's again have these feelings of good wishes and pure thoughts, what we call again Shubh Bhavna and Shubh Kamna in Hindi. And of course, a time is coming where there will be no conflicts. Is anyone interested to know which time is coming? Please contact your nearest Raj Yoga center. Because yes, we are going through very tough times, and these tough times are going to become tougher more and more. Only for a big transformation which is coming up in the form of a new world order, where there will be absolutely no conflict. So this we can only do with the power of our peaceful thoughts. Also, Hemlata Didi said, never interfere with anyone's karma, because we don't know what their stories are. We don't know what is their past. So the way they are behaving, it's perfect for them. They are doing it perfectly right, what they are supposed to do. So let's have good vibrations for them, good wishes, take the power from Supreme and pass it on to everyone. And yes, it reminds me that it is Dadi's month, Dadi Prakash Mani, and we are soon approaching our sacred festival of Raksha Bandhan as well, which always falls in Dadi's month. So this is her month. She left the body on 25th of August. In her memorial, we'll be having the silence retreat on that Sunday, very much on 25th August. And we asked both these senior Rajyogis about experiences from their life with Dadi Prakashmani. So they had quite a few. And they said Dadi has this beautiful balance, Nyara Pyara. Nyara means detached, Pyara means loving. And towards the end of her life, till 2007, she left the body. She used to always say, Asha Didi shares this, that she used to always say, rather than being detached, just be more and more loving. And we always say here also at Brahma Kumar is the balance of love and law. So Dadi used to say in the end, in the last few years, that forget law, always give love. She was such a beautiful soul. And Dadi used to say, if you remain merciful, you can win the hearts of everyone. Don't let go of your stage. So these are a few tips of how to be more accommodating, and particularly coming from directly Dadi Prakashmani. Yes, perfect, dot on time. I'll just stop sharing the screen. And yes, we have with us Sister Tina. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining. And before I pass it on to you, I have to introduce you because you're joining here for the first time. And yes, you haven't given me a big bio data, which I will be keep complaining all the time. But whatever you have given, I'll be reading out that fully. The Sister Tina is a PhD in plant genetics, and she's worked as a research scientist in an academic setting and practicing Raj Yoga for almost 25 years now. She currently serves at the Global Harmony House Center in Great Neck, and she loves to discover her inner strengths and apply these spiritual concepts to practical life, staying in dignity and in peace in all that she does. And I also asked her this question, that do you want to share how you came into Brahma Kumaris? So she has shared that she was introduced to BKs in 1998, a long time ago. And by asking this one question, that is, would you like to make God your best friend? Her journey has started from there. And she says that indeed not knowing what that means, but she started there. And then she left that place wherever she had visited first with a lot of curiosity, that how can God be your best friend? But then soon after a few months, she got connected back, and then there's no looking back on her journey. And eventually she realized that though she was steadily progressing, but she realized her true potential in 2022. That's 2 years from now. And she decided to completely dedicate her life for humanity since then. So again, this is about her biodata, and again, a poem, as always, for our very Rajyogis, senior Rajyogis. Sister Tina, in her nature, is indeed very cooperative. That makes her everyone's favorite because of being supportive. In this world, when everyone's thinking has become so negative, she comes with the fragrance of values and asks everyone to be positive. People who by nature and behavior have become so disruptive, she comes and teaches us the art of how to be appreciative. Because over the years, on the journey of Raj Yoga, she's become so accommodative, which helps soul to realize their true potential, thereby making them productive. Due to climate change, the world weather has become so unpredictable. She tells us how to mold ourselves and become more adaptive. Our weaknesses sometimes overtake us and make us feel fugitive and captive, but the Supreme's energy and power helps us feel free and liberated. So with this, welcome Sister Tina, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, good evening. I don't know, different time zones, I believe, have joined. Thank you so much, Manoj Bhai and the team. And I hear that on Bihasa, you all are putting these points, the daily discourses points on how we can accommodate. And what I heard for 1 hour, I think you all are already up there It's like you know everything. I don't know what I have to add more to that, but maybe some personal or some heard stories around it, which sometimes I feel inspires us a lot more than just knowing the knowledge points or aspects from the knowledge. So I was just thinking when you were saying that accommodation is more like a value, but then also sought after power. So sometimes we struggle between this question: is it a virtue? Is it a power? Is it a value? What is the difference? And so value and virtue, we use them as synonyms, right? And many times we understand a value is something that is given regard, something that is held to deserve our attention, deserve importance, deserve worthiness or usefulness for something. Or it is something which others can see in us, many a times they see in us. But if that virtue is not so much in action, then people might not see it. It can remain hidden at times. Sometimes people will appreciate it that, oh, you have this quality, you have this value, but they don't necessarily feel that they also can possess that value. On the other hand, when I was thinking that how any virtue can actually, when it's practiced over a long period of time, can become a power. And any power has this ability to actually then bring in many different qualities, many different values. And so, as a power, I was thinking that it is something, if you say that it's a power to accommodate, there's something that cannot remain hidden.
Sorry,
Power,
sister.
you
Sorry
can
to
hear.
sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
we can hear. But I'm getting messages from translators that please ask her to decrease the speed because there are.
Oh, okay.
Sorry for
Sure,
that.
sure, sure. I'm so sorry. Yeah, sure. So I was just saying that how any virtue, when it is practiced over a long period of time, and it can have the ability to then become a power. So, like I was saying, virtue can sometimes be seen and sometimes you appreciate it, and sometimes it remains hidden. But a power is something that cannot remain hidden. A power is something that is constantly a source of inspiration to others, right? Power is something that can enable others to change. It can give them, the power to change, the power to be who they are and make them powerful or empower others, like sometimes we hear in our teachings. Now, one of the things that we also mention about accommodation is that it means to just let be, right? Let be. And majority of the times I feel sound is low. I don't know how to increase. This is the maximum sound.
Okay. No, it's fine. I think people's devices are low, but it's all good. I'm sure it's all good. Everyone is saying yes. Yeah.
Okay. So, majority of the times I feel that we have the power of accommodation, and especially if the situation is certain. Let's say, for example, we know, oh, it can rain anytime. Like when I came to USA first, anytime it would rain. And first I was like, what is this? It used to shock me and surprise me. There is no rainy season. But if you are in India, then there is a rainy season from June, July, August. You expect that rains will be there and you will always carry an umbrella and a raincoat and you're fine. But here, anytime it would rain. And now, if you ask me, does rain bother me? No, because I've accommodated it. It's like I've normalized myself to that particular situation, right? And it's normal now. Similarly with COVID, it started and everyone was like little bit. But later, after 2 years, everything was normalized. It was so normal to wear the mask and to wear the protection or whatever. So similarly, sometimes when we say, oh, there is little less salt in the food or there is no electricity today, we have normalized to these kinds of situations, right? And so it definitely means that we have the power of accommodation. However, there are still certain challenges that come in front of us wherein we need accommodation not only as a virtue or a value that can sometimes be seen and sometimes remain hidden, but we need it as a power. We need it all the time acting out, right? And challenges could be like someone was saying, I accommodate with myself, right? I accept myself. So first thing that we have to accommodate is our own nature. Like many a times we feel when we see our own weaknesses that I don't like myself. I'm not able to accept this about myself. But when I am able to understand myself, then I'm able to accept myself. Similarly, there could be challenges that are coming from outside, negativity of others, and especially, they become like mirrors in front of us. They tell us who we are, what we are, where we are, how much work still needs to be done, and what is our potential, what we can become, right? So there is again that challenge sometimes that I have to accommodate with the negativity that is around me. And the third thing, sometimes we also say that the challenges can come in the form of financial, right? Finances. So sometimes the expenses are way more than the incoming thing or the intake that's happening. Or sometimes the intake is very high, but then there is no generosity of the heart internally that I would want to share that abundance with everyone else. I would feel like I want to also give out then. So that is also a challenge. Then people will judge and people will say things. Or sometimes I feel that the challenge could be with our bodies, with our health. And it's incredible. Sometimes I feel how any little thing happens to our body and it instantly affects our thinking pattern. It instantly affects the thoughts that are generated, the words that emerge, and the actions that we perform. I'm sure some of you must have arranged flowers, right? I have this duty here where I have to arrange flowers for Thursday morning sometimes. And, the rose that we buy are those big ones with long stem and thick thorns. And we try to remove each thorn before we put them in the offering tray. And sometimes those thorn prick. They're such tiny thorns, but the thorn pricks so bad. Little prick of that thorn completely haywires your thoughts, and now it ruins your experience of preparing those flowers. It ruins your experience for the rest of the day. You are no longer able to see the beauty of those flowers, but you are just cribbing about those thorns, right, that are pricking you. And so, what is happening in that moment? I was just checking myself, and you create thoughts that are distracting you from your original, aspect that you want to see the beauty of the flowers, you want to arrange them properly. And so, you can call them as compromised thoughts, or you can call them as distracted thoughts, or you call them as repetitive thoughts. God, these thoughts are going to prick me. And all of these are waste thoughts or unnecessary thoughts, thoughts that pull me away from my true original nature. So let's say, for example, my nature is to be gentle, my nature is to see goodness in others. But now, because of these distracted thoughts, right? Because of these waste negative thoughts, sometimes it takes me away from my pure self. It takes me away from my original self. It takes me away from who I am. So in that moment, it's like I forget. And because I forget, it's like I'm no more a knowledgeable soul. It's not being sensible in that moment when I am having all those distractive and compromised thoughts, right? When I know that I should have pure and positive thoughts, right? So this is the mind playing games with us. This is the illusion that the mind is always creating. And so that's why how much longer I want to play that game, of creating compromised thoughts or creating redundant thoughts or creating waste thoughts. And so we say there is no control in that moment when the challenge comes suddenly, especially, when it's uncertain and you are surprised by that challenge. You didn't think somebody would say that to you. And there is no power of accommodation in that moment right? You're off guard, caught, And so what I really love about the teachings of the Brahma Kumaris, of the Raj Yoga meditation, is that it's a meditation that helps us to transform. It's not just relaxation. It's not just feeling good. It's not just becoming calm, but it's actually helping me to bring about that transformation within. I want to transform myself. And I can really have these kind of transformational behavioral responses if I am aware that I am a sentient being, that I am a spiritual being, a being of energy that is not just spreading uncontrolled way, but I am in my control. I have the control. I am the master. I have that self sovereignty, if you will, right? And so Raj Yoga meditation helps us to bring that virtue at the forefront, or that value in our practical lives, right? Manoj Bhai was mentioning about Dadi Prakashmani, and I didn't think of saying about the story, but I just remembered, and so I just want to start with that story. One time there was this, you might know, some of you, that Dadi used to live in Madhuban, right, in the headquarters of the Brahma Kumaris in Mount Abu, Rajasthan. And there are a lot of brothers there who are surrendered. They live there. So there was this one brother who was very new. He had recently dedicated his life. And so he went to one department. He was assigned one department. And the brothers didn't like him, so they sent him to another department. So he went to another department. And the brothers were not happy with him there either. So they sent him to the third department. So he slacked there. He was tired. He was bored. He was not doing what he was supposed to do. So they sent him to the fourth department, and they moved him through many departments. I don't remember the exact number. But eventually, all of them, along with this brother, they came to Dadi with all their complaints. Dadi, this brother is like this brother is like that, this brother is not doing anything, he slacks, he's always, So Dadi is quietly listening. And then Dadi told to all the brothers, I am sorry. I apologize on his behalf. I will talk to him in front of that brother. I will talk to him, and I will try to find out if there is something that I can help him with. So Dadi is asking you to give him one chance, and Dadi will talk. Now imagine what will happen to that brother, right? When Dadi talked with that brother, he just said, Dadi, I will do everything. You will not get any complaint from me. He was humbled, he was touched, he was moved by Dadi's gesture, and suddenly everything just changed because Dadi accommodated all his weaknesses into herself, right? She did not start, oh, you are like this, you're like that, you're this, no, she didn't go into that, right? And instantly you saw that the brother transformed, and the brother is still there in Madhuban. So this is long time back, right? The story is maybe 20 years back. But what I'm trying to say is that sometimes when we talk about the power of appreciation or the power of accommodation, it is basically the ability to respond. And you take that responsibility. But the meditation part of it helps you to take that responsibility so that you can have a proper response in the given moment, at the given time, in the right place, at the right moment, right? So your power of accommodation will shape your response. That's what I'm saying. Your power of accommodation will shape your response to people, to situations, to the world, whatever is happening. Some questions were brought about world situations, political situations, or home situations, job situations, but wherever you have to respond. But how do you know how to respond, right? And like I was saying, there are many stories and many analogies used, some of which you already mentioned. But one example is given of water, right? We also say accommodation means going with the flow. You know, you're flowing with the flow. And so water has this ability, whichever container you put it in, whether it is a jar, whether it is a mug, whether it's a cup, whether it is a big container, whatever, it will instantly take up that form of that container. It's not going to fight with the container, right? It will take up that form. It will adjust according to the shape of the container, and yet it remains true to its original self. So that kind of flowing with the flow or flexibility allows the water not to become stuck. And we say this for rivers also, right? The rivers will flow, and as they flow, they will find their path. But the reason they're able to find their path is because they're able to, go along, flex themselves, maneuver themselves, find their way around. And if they have to take some garbage or dust or whatever with them, they will carry all of that. And then they say they will dump it into the ocean. And then you say the ocean has the power to accommodate, because the ocean will never judge. Oh, I want water from this river. The water is salty in this river. The water is sweet in this river. The ocean never says that. So the ocean will take water from all the rivers. And yet, the ocean is very intelligent, right? The ocean doesn't keep it in itself. It will throw to the shores. So what it means is that I am taking in all, but at the same time, I'm not letting it touch my heart. I'm not absorbing anything to the memory track of the soul. Because once anyone's behavior or anyone's words or anyone's, act goes and touches your memory track, your subconscious mind, then suddenly you no longer are able to remove it from there. It's hard. You can, but it's hard. So it's better to observe and, take it in, but at the same time, not to absorb it. That is power of accommodation. When we go to the doctor's office, and sometimes you see there are some patients who have a lot of health problems and a lot of different reasons they're there. Now, if a patient comes to the doctor, can a doctor ever tell to the patient that, oh, you have a lot of health problems, I don't want to see you. Why do you come here? How am I going to treat you? Can't you take care of your health? The doctor will accommodate, whatever he is and however he is, and then he will help. Who else will help him? Doctor has to help, right? So that is like having the power of accommodation, that, okay, this is his behavior. He's not able to take care of his health. So let me do whatever I can, right? So what we see that sometimes, in life also, there is one other thing that happens is there are sometimes we really want something. Let's say in your life also, you can remember a time when you really wanted a job, or you felt you really wanted this relationship to work for you, or you felt that I really want to get into this study, I need this admission into this university, and everything else will become perfect in my life. Everything will fall in place. Everything will work right. I just need to get in there. But you feel that, if you don't get it, then you feel, oh, I would have gotten this. I should have done this. Could have done this. So this should have, could have, would have. These things actually tell us that if you are going through that kind of phase where you're always thinking, I should have done this, or I could have, or I would have, then that means it's really time to embrace this value of accommodation. We need this power of accommodation. I'll give you an example. There was this old couple who called one time at the center, and they were visiting their daughter's home, and they couldn't find the daughter anywhere. So they called. And then they are looking, so they actually did ask the son-in-law about their daughter, but the son-in-law is saying, you find out. I don't know where she is. So they are trying to reach her, but she's not picking up the call. So they call because the center knows the whole family. So they call at the center and they told the sister, can you please call her because she will pick up your call. She's not taking our call, but she will pick up your call. And so the senior sister called her and she asked her, what's happening? You're not picking up the call of your parents. Your parents are down waiting for you. And she said, yeah, I am in my room and I don't want to go down. I'm not going to go down. And there is this whole, the in-laws are celebrating their 50th anniversary or something like that. So the whole family has gotten together. There are friends, relatives, everybody is at home. And now this girl is saying, I will not go down. So the sister told her, you have to go down. And she's saying, no, but this man, she's referring to her husband. And she's saying, this man, he fought with me and he said such nasty things to me. And so I'm not going to go down. So the sister is telling her, no, no, you should go down. Later on, you can resolve it, whatever it is, misunderstanding, or you can talk about it later. And she's saying, I cannot do acting. I cannot act like being a good daughter-in-law or being a good wife or, being a good person. This is how I'm feeling and I'm not going to entertain anyone. So the sister said, no, you have to go down. Everybody is waiting, and whatever you're feeling, it's right or it's wrong, that's fine, but you can talk about it later when there is time. This is the time to accommodate. It's not your acting, you're accommodating, you're using your power to accommodate, and then you will, talk about it later. So basically what we are trying to say here is like, you don't throw your problem or your behavior around and then make people think about it that, oh, she's locked up in the room, or, oh my God, she's not doing well with these people, or, oh my God, she's very moody. So you're not giving others this feeling of discomfort or making them look into your mess. You don't have to throw your mess around, right? But you have to accommodate. You have to know that when you make clear and visible to others your behavior, that means you don't have power to accommodate. Right? If your behavior is seen by the whole world, right? Outsiders especially, then it tells something about your own weakness, your own power is not working. And yeah, it's fine that you see something as right and you see something as wrong. And you can get it out of your system later on. But in that moment, you cannot let it become so heavy on you that you're not able to do the right thing. And there's a saying, kings don't cry in public, right? Doesn't mean kings don't have sorrow, right? But it's just that it's not going to help. What is the benefit of doing that? If I let the whole world know, who is going to help me? Are they really going to help me? Are they really going to sympathize with me? No. So in that moment, I need this power of accommodation. And I come from a big joint family. So my grandparents, my uncles, aunts, and all of them used to live together. And I have seen my grandmother's behavior with my mom, and my mom's behavior with my grandma was not very good, but whenever I used to go out with my mother, or whenever I used to go out with my grandmother, they both behaved like nothing happened. I never saw my mom saying anything bad about my grandmother in an outside gathering. And I never saw my grandmother talking anything bad about my mother. So one time I had a very good relation with both of them, my mother and my grandmother. And I told my grandmother one time, what is this? At home, you're like cats and outside you are like so sweet. And she said, yeah, we are at home, so we can sometimes, share and do what we want to, but outside, we don't have to take our mess outside. And that's the early childhood days that I learned this power of accommodation is so important because it keeps the family intact. It keeps the whole unit together, And it also tells us that you need a lot of maturity. So each power has the ability to bring many virtues. Power of accommodation, first very important virtue that is visible is the virtue of maturity. If you are a mature person, you will be able to accommodate. Excuse me. And it also means that you are wise. You have a lot of wisdom. One of the signs that you have power of accommodation, how will you know? So they say that people will come to such people to ask for advice. They will ask you. They will not know what all you have gone through, but somehow they will feel like you will give them the right advice. And so they ask you for advice, they ask you for, suggestions. So that is one of the signs of being, full of wisdom, to know what to do at the right time, in the right moment, right? There is also this another story of a king. Some of you might know, I believe. This king used to visit his kingdom's marketplace every day during the evening hours. And whoever is not able to sell their stuff by evening, after trying hard, then the king would buy it so that they can earn something, right? So one day he's in that marketplace and he sees a man is trying to sell his dolls, but he's unable to. So then the king goes to him and asks, what is the price of these dolls? And then he says, one is $10, second is $100, and the third one is $1,000. And so he is like, they look the same. So why the difference? And so he takes a thread and he puts the thread through the ears, and the thread comes out from the other ear. And then this is the first doll. He takes the second doll, he puts the thread through one ear, and the thread comes out from the mouth. Even though there is hole in the ear, it comes out from the mouth. And then the third doll, he puts the thread from one ear, and the thread never comes out. It goes into the stomach. So he says that they all three teach us different things. The first one is you listen to everything, you take in everything, but then you don't remember anything. It's like you listen, but you don't listen. The second one is like you have taken in, but you've never applied anything. But the third one is you've listened, you've understood, you have internalized it, you have absorbed it, and you have made it part of you. So power of accommodation is like that. We hear a lot about it and we understand the significance of it and we know what are the benefits of it. We have all the knowledge in the world about this accommodation, right? But then how much have I internalized it? How much have I absorbed it? How much have I made it part of me that no matter what, it's not going to just not work for me, right? Anytime I need the power to accommodate, it will work for me. So if I have the power of accommodation, suddenly the value increases from $10 to $1,000, right? So it's like the ability to merge into your reservoir of experience, whatever you are experiencing in that moment, and then you move on. You add it to your experience, you move on. You add it to your experience, you move on. But you don't get stuck there. Right? One of the things my mom used to say early when I was learning to cook, she used to say, if you don't know anything, just use potato and add it to any vegetable. And I'm like, what? she told me, that this is the one, vegetable that has unlimited power of accommodation. It can work with any other vegetable. So I was like, wow. So it's like you are merging with others and you're becoming something more beautiful, right? Something more delicious. And so it's like I'm upgrading my vision of others, that I can accommodate with them, I can work with them, I can merge their ideas, I can merge their thoughts or their desires, and then we can together create something more beautiful. When you look at the face also, there is so much power of accommodation in this face. Otherwise, somebody could say, oh, why 2 ears and one nose? Why not one eye and one nose and one? But the face is accommodating all of that. And it's like the power of complementarity, power of being together, power of working together. So that is what I feel is accommodation also. Sometimes you just work with everyone and you see how beautiful life becomes. Although I know one time someone said that living in a group is a challenge. And especially those of you who are married, you would know that living with just one person sometimes can be a big deal, right? Now, at the centers, you see we are living with 8 sisters or 5 sisters. They come from different cultures, different backgrounds, different age, different generations. And yet, there is this power of accommodation. If it is working the right way, then essentially it helps the relationships to grow. We begin to understand each other, we begin to respect each other, and we begin to blend in different personality and different types of people. And that's how the environment at the center begins to flourish. The vibrations begin to attract others, right? When they see how beautiful you're working together, right? So what I'm trying to say here is that accommodation has many different aspects. One is, of course, you're merging. And in the case of the daughter-in-law example, you sometimes have to forgive and forget and move on and then deal with it later if need be. But otherwise, sometimes, you just have to forget. You just have to forgive and you just have to move forward. It's the ability to live in the present more than so living in the past. But I heard Sister Rena was sharing that you shouldn't allow people to take disadvantage of you either, right? You have to also have limit and understand, because sometimes when power of accommodation is taken too far, it is the power where I can respond differently to the different knocks or different things that are coming, different arrows that are being shot at me. But at the same time, if I take it too far, right? If I take it too far, then I can become a person who is expert at people pleasing. I can become someone who is accommodating anything and everything, and there is no self-respect. So I do need to create boundaries. I do need to create, I do need wisdom as to where and how and when, because otherwise we also have the power to face in our, bucket of powers that we talk about in the teachings of Brahma Kumaris, right? So power of accommodation is important, but sometimes power to face is also important. And they give an example of a snake. Some of you might know that there was this village, and right outside the village there was this snake, and he used to live in his home. And the snake, anytime anyone would pass by or anytime anyone would come, the snake would bite them. So they call a learned pandit or a hermit or someone who can control the snakes, basically. And this man comes and he controls the snake and he tells the snake that you cannot bite anyone. And somehow, this is a story, the snake listens and the snake is now not biting anyone. So what happens, anytime anyone is coming in the village, they hit a stone. Anytime anyone is leaving the village, they hit this stone to the snake. So after a few months, the learned hermit, he comes back, he's passing by the same village. So he goes in the village, and when he's going inside, he sees the snake. And he sees the snake is in a very bad condition.
lot of bruises, lot of hurt marks, lot of, limping, not able to stand properly, not able to crawl properly, barely living. So he says, what happened to you? You were so powerful, you were so strong. What happened to you? And then he said, well, you told me not to bite, to accommodate with everyone. And then, yes, I did, but I didn't say that you cannot hiss, right? He could have hissed, and then the people would get afraid. He's not fighting, but he could hiss, and then they would run away, right? They would not hurt him, no? So definitely, we don't want to become people pleasers, or we don't want to be someone who's trampled over and like a doormat, anyone comes and says anything, not like that, but at the same time, maintain my self-respect. To practice self-respect is the biggest practice that you can do to have this power of accommodation. If I don't have good self-respect, anyone says a little small thing and it will keep pricking me. And I'll keep repeating it again and again and again. The whole conversation I will repeat 10 times in my mind. But if I have a good self-respect and I see myself in my true home, then no matter what someone says, it will not influence me. It will not affect me, right? And I will understand that, when to say what. But if I am constantly resisting to what has happened, then that is futile effort. Resistance to the past, resistance to what has happened is not going to help me. It actually just hurts me more if I am just resisting, right? So what we also say sometimes is that we have to understand that when something has happened, then it has happened. My question that I need to ask myself is what I can do now, right? And one of the teachings in the Brahma Kumaris is that if somebody does wrong to you or says wrong to you, it does not give you permission to do wrong. It does not give you permission to behave in the wrong way, right? Two wrongs don't make it right. So if I use my knowledge, if I use my wisdom, if I use my power, then I can actually help them to get rid of their negativity and also empower them to become more positive. So one last thing that I want to share is that one more thing that can help us to increase our power is to constantly ask myself, how many can I find place for or room for in my heart, in my mind, in my house? So that's like power of accepting, power of accommodating, adapting to circumstances, and making the most of what I have in a practical way. I remember because we were a joint family, all our rooms were always full. We used to sleep like 5 people in the same room. And then when the guest would come, sometimes they come unknowingly, we don't know, like they come suddenly. So we used to give our beds to them and we used to sleep on the floor. But that was power of accommodation, right? We didn't make noise, we didn't say anything. We just understood and we just behaved in the right way. And so my dad always used to say that we have big heart, we should be big-hearted. And he's very good at hospitality. I'm nowhere close to him, but he is very big-hearted and he will welcome everyone and he will. So sometimes I feel I should learn, just get inspired by him and see how I can also increase my capacity to that extent. Because Global Harmony House is a place where every day there is a guest. Almost every day. We have visitors, we have guests, we have people stopping by because New York is like the main, place where people stop and they are going to some other country, they will stop. But also Moini Didi is here, so many people want to see her, so they just come. So one time I had this thought, How much, why so many guests? Too much. And then I said, it's okay. I will do whatever is in my capacity, and I will leave what I am not able to do. But at the same time, I will make sure that I can keep on increasing my capacity. However, no matter what, whatever is my capacity, I'm not going to crib about it. Because even if I say why so many guests, the guests are not going to stop coming. Nothing is going to change, as that is not in our control, right? So then I had to change my thought. I had to change my that no matter who comes, they should just have good experience. I should be good with them, and that's all the part that I have to play. So sometimes you have to work with your thoughts. And for me, my personal experience says working with your thoughts is the best place that you can work with, because that's the only thing that is in your control. And once you work with your thoughts, then suddenly things change. And honestly, they do change, So last thing that I want to cover is the different virtues that come with the power to accommodate. We already saw that you need big-heartedness, you should be, mature, you need maturity, there should be wisdom that will automatically come when you have this power. There is openness, right? There is understanding. You are merciful if you're able to accommodate others' mistakes or others' weaknesses. You have the ability to listen what they're saying, and there is flexibility, there is respect for everyone around you, and that's why you are able to accommodate with them, right? There is humility and there's integrity, right? That means you're not a people pleaser. You are true to yourself, you know yourself, and you're coming from that space. So these are some of the qualities, and I feel integrity and maturity are really the foundation. And of course, all the virtues are beautiful, but if you can at least pick up some and then work with that, then that helps. So my first practice that I would do for myself if I want to increase this power, which I'm doing since 1 month actually now, more focused effort on this accommodation, is to have internal thought buttons. Internal thought buttons means as soon as something happens, that button should be pushed, right? I was listening to actually sister, the class that you shared, Manoj Bhai, earlier, and she was saying that these days you don't even have to, not this one, maybe by Hansa Ben, that these days you don't even have to press the button. You don't have to, what was it? You don't have to open the lock with the key. You just have to push the button and the lock opens. So similarly, I don't have to use the key to open or the treasure store of my powers and then get the power of accommodation, but I simply have to push a button of a particular thought. You have to find that anchoring thought. You have to find that thought button that would instantly come into picture as soon as you need the power. It could be like, for example, I'm a benevolent soul. I have to bring benefit. So as soon as you push this thought button, then in that moment, when you are in the situation, you will not be reactive, or you will not speak like how they are speaking, or you will not do how they're doing, but you will be able to accommodate because you're saying, I am a benevolent soul. This is one example, but you can think like that. You can churn for yourself. What can be other, thought buttons that you can push, and instantly the power to accommodate comes into action. And I'm accommodating for my own peace of mind, right? I'm doing this because then later on, they play cards, and how they play cards, you throw 2 and then somebody will throw 4 and then somebody will throw 8 and then the game continues. And how long? So if I say something and then you say something and then I say something and then you say something and then I say something that I should have not said, I will be the one who will end up apologizing, even though I didn't start it. So why should I reach that place, So it's better not to start the game, not to, do it, because then I lose my peace. And then for those who are already practicing the BK teachings, they have deep understanding of karma philosophy. So if you understand the karma philosophy, then you know that no matter what someone is doing or saying or being, your karmic account is your responsibility. So when I keep this in my mind, then it helps me to not be reactive, but to take the proper, responsibility for my responses. So that's what I feel is accommodation. It's a very beautiful power. And doing this exercise for this session, Manoj bhai, it really helped me to see where all I need to work on myself and how much more potential I have to actually increase this power within me so that I can really, be good instrument of God. So with that, we'll stop here and maybe we do some meditation if we have time, or what is the next step?
A bit of time and wonderful. Thank you so much. Yes, whatever you shared was all from your heart. And it showed that since I told you the topic, since that time you have been working on that value. It's wonderful. Like, it's amazing that what you were sharing was really coming out. It showed that you were practicing that over the last 1 month. There are a few questions. The first question is about, you remember you spoke about the daughter-in-law that she was stuck up in the room. She said, I don't want to go out.
Yeah.
And she was holding. So there's a question that if we hold on, the thing was she was wanting not to go down. And you said that, yes, you should sometimes make sure that you hold on your feelings. And for the people, you just go down because you're a daughter-in-law of the family, a typical Indian setting, if you can consider that. So someone is saying if you hold on your feelings for a long time inside, then it creates sickness in the body. So
True.
how do
That is true. So I didn't mean that you hold on to it for a long period of time. What I meant is that you just wait for the right opportunity to talk to your husband. And then you can have a conversation with him, and then you can talk to him and tell him that these words were not right that you used for me. Please, it would be nice if we don't use this kind of vocabulary or whatever it is. I don't know the details, but I'm just saying you find the right time to have a conversation and not, take that as the final thing and judge that person and then don't behave the way you should behave.
Yes,
Right?
great. People are really inspired by you being a PhD. And there's a direct question on your personal journey. I just ask you because one is asking that, can you please ask Sister Tina to share her personal life journey, that what inspired her to surrender her life fully for humanity after achieving such a big PhD degree? And how do you deal with yourself when you're alone along with
I
that?
I like to be alone. I'm always surrounded with people. You know what you want, you don't get that in the same situation. I like to be alone. I like to have my own time, but I'm always surrounded with people. So, the question about my PhD, I never wanted to do a PhD, to be honest. I came in knowledge when I just passed my 10th grade. So after my 12th grade, I had a realization and I felt that this is the path. And I went to my, whoever was the center coordinator at the time, I went to her and I said, I want to surrender. And she said to me just 3 months back, this is in 2000, 3 or 4 months back, a letter has been issued from the headquarters that no sister can surrender unless and until she's a graduate. So you need to get minimum graduation degree in order for you to surrender. And so I did my graduation. Then the things changed a little bit on the way. And I tried to surrender, but every time something or the other happened. And even after getting that's a very long story, so I really won't have time to go into the details of that. But even after getting my PhD, I came here, I messaged Moini, I said, I want to surrender. And she said, well, you've already taken admission, you first finish this. Then when I finished, I went to her again, I want to surrender. And she said, well, you have finished PhD, please do some work. You should get, you should do some job. So I had to work for a certain number of years. And then also I saw nobody's doing anything here. So then I gave her like a final email. I wrote to her, I'm going back to India. I'm sure I will be able to do something there full time. And I don't need to wait any longer. And in that same night, she actually called me. She said, don't make any decisions like that. Wait, you're needed here. We need you here. And so we will work out something. And then COVID came. So things changed again. And I couldn't surrender. This was in 2019 that I wrote to her. I remember very clearly. It was 10th of December 2019. And she wrote to me, and she's making plans for me now. And then we were supposed to meet in Madhuban. And then COVID came and things changed and I couldn't surrender. So I had to work more. And then in 2022, things just happened. And in my case, it's always been like that, that drama has always taken the charge and things have happened according to drama. And so I feel that God's plan is always working for me. Always it's his plan that is working. And so I have a lot of trust in drama, and I feel that everything happens at the right time. So yeah, I don't feel lonely for sure. Even when I stayed alone in the apartment, I don't feel lonely at all. I saw Baba as my husband. I saw Baba as my companion, as my Valentine, all relationships I have experienced with Baba. So I don't feel lonely at all. But when we talk about US, we say US is the land where freedom is the utmost important value. When we talk about the East, especially India, we say belongingness is the most important value of East. So there was that contrast that definitely I saw, where in India, there is no privacy. Everybody knows everything about your life, right? And so, but the sense of belonging, the sense of care, the sense of, feeling one was always there. Whereas in US, there is freedom, but at the same time, there is no real sense of, being cared or whatever. Of course, if Baba is there, you feel that Baba is directly taking care of you. Baba is directly working with you. And now, since I've started to stay at the center, I feel that I'm back to that same situation where there is no privacy, there is no, nothing is like private. Dadi Janki used to say, ours is nothing private. So I feel the same thing, that everything is kind of open, but it's good. I am happy where I am. Yeah.
Great, and that too at International Coordinating Center, like we must say that, I mean, that's the hub of US, New York, great
Yeah.
hub.
So
Great name.
yeah, one other thing is that I did PhD because in plant genetics, because I felt I always since childhood wanted to do something that is sustainable for humanity. From childhood, I wanted to do something for humanity. And so I felt that going into agriculture, into plants will help me to, reduce this food problem or the agriculture problem, and will help me to actually help humanity in a more sustainable way. But then I also learned in science, the science is always changing. I solve one question, 10 questions will come up, and the applied part of it comes in quite late. So then I thought, I don't have that much time. I want to do something that's really sustainable and more obvious. And so that's why I had a very strong thought in 2019 that this is enough now. I've done a lot of science, I've done a lot of research now, so finally it manifested in 2022. Yeah. Because
Okay.
when we are in Baba's home, when we are at the center, it helps us to help others. And that is the biggest, feeling of achievement, if you will. that you get when you help others. Yeah.
Right. So
Thank you.
wonderful for sharing your personal journey. And let me also add to it. I know Sister Tina because she's a Puneite, I mean from Pune. And I know it's a big family, as she already has shared, but a few more other things which you need to know. It's a family of three sisters. All three are surrendered in one way. The second one is in the UK. I'm not telling any names. And the third one is also a dentist working full time as a dentist. And she also is almost surrendered at one of the centers in Pune, India itself. So there you are. It's a big family of surrendered sisters. Okay, so now I'll request Sister Claudia to please propose the vote of thanks. Over to you. Thank you.
Om Shanti. I'm talking from UK, so I'm in a different time zone. So enjoy here the retreat place for teachers. So the power to accommodate when we are in different places is necessary, and it was very nice to hear from you all your wisdom about this power. Yeah, especially when you say you should not say should, not could. Those when should be like that, have done like that. That shows that our power of accommodation is not that great. So whatever comes is because it's good for us, and then we have to work around until we get done, but without suffering or not getting hurt inside, like you said. Even if otherwise, the doctor is going to show you your pain and your not accommodate is going to be showing in your body, and such is one way or the other one. But it's nice to hear from you all the for us. So it's quite nice to see your possibility to share all your wisdom with us. And thank you for being with us today. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Sister Claudia. And sorry you cut off a bit, but it's fine. We could understand your in the it was quite okay. Yeah, so I'm sorry we are running a bit late, Sister Tina. We'll just take 5 more minutes. I'm sorry for that. I know you're in the Rakhi program. I'll just quickly do the announcements and then we'll go ahead with the meditation, the closing meditation. And in the meantime, as I'm sharing, just wanted to remind people who have joined newly for the first time, if you're interested to be a part of these workshops and the value episodes, please feel free to share your WhatsApp numbers in the chat box to everyone. And if you're not comfortable to everyone, then you can please send it to Sister Vidhi, starting with V Vidhi. So let's quickly see what is the next. As you remember in the talk, Sister Tina mentioned about integrity, which is closely linked with the power of accommodation. So there you are. We have the next episode 97 on that. Our speakers have changed again the Divine Drama Plan. So we have two beautiful senior Rajyogis from the land of Brazil. So it will be a nice Portuguese fun we'll have. Saturday, 17th August, Sister Luciana, she's been with us many times, who's the national coordinator of BKs in Brazil. And Sister Juliana, who is from Minas Gerais. I hope I'm saying it right. Sister Claudia and Brother Manuel, you all please correct it. That's where Sister Juliana is now instrumental for service. Before she was in Sao Paulo. And as always, again, the workshop after that will be with Brother Golo, who's from Vyansarovar in Mount Abu, a German by body that way, and Sister Sonia Olsen. She is the coordinator at Denmark, and both of them are actively involved in the United Nations climate change initiative of Brahma Kumaris as well. So they work closely on that, and they'll tell us during the workshop on their thoughts about integrity. That will be the week after on 24th August. And not to forget 25th August, this time it's a Sunday. And we always end with a silence retreat. And it's wonderful. Again, it's Dadi Prakashmani's day. And we'll be doing it on accommodation, the value which we are covering today. So please join in for that as well. This is our elegant calendar. We'll be sending it to you in the emails which we forward usually after the workshops with all the review materials. So keep a look at that as well. And these are the playlists which will come to you again in the PowerPoints, and you can feel free to visit our YouTube channel, which is vihasaindia.in, and the Vancouver is vancouver.brahmakumaris.ca. And these are our email addresses. Feel free to share your thoughts, comments, and feedback. So with this, I'll just stop sharing and over to, yeah, before that, yeah, people have started automatically opening their cameras. So it's a routine for us now, Sister Tina. You'd be wondering why they are opening their video cameras now. You felt maybe for Drishti, that's one thing good, but they also want to be clicked for the photograph. So yes, if I can request Sister Garima to do that. So it's 2 in 1. So we'll be clicking, and also make sure you will take the Drishti and the powerful vibration also. Don't switch off your videos during the meditation. Yeah, so Sister Garima, over to you. And Vidhi sister, there are some new numbers coming to you. Please note them. And yeah, so is it done? So can we proceed with the meditation?
I'm just going to play, Manoj bhai. It's 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
It's okay, right?
Yeah, you want to play? Sorry, what? I didn't get you.
I will play the commentary. It's just 3 minutes.
Problem. Perfect. Yeah, you're sharing your sound. Yeah.
The power to accept. I visualize the swirling of a turquoise energy. It's as if I feel great relief. I experience this energy like the power of water in a river that flows within me. As it flows, it sweeps away everything that prevents me from being authentic, free and complete. What has been painful or has made me feel unhappy. But as with water in the hands, it's gone. I accept all which has happened to me or will happen will be lived this way. Nothing is permanent. Everything has a cycle. There is a beginning, a climax, and an end, which allows me to rise again and learn from the situation. All of us are actors in an endless play. Each actor has a role to play. Therefore, I accept with wisdom what may happen, and consequently accepting that, all has to flow. My character, my transformation, those with whom I relate, what surrounds me. Everything has its own rhythm, and a very profound attitude of authentic respect for myself appears. For those who surround me, for what's going on. Because although I may not believe it, everything happens for the best. And then acceptance fills me with trust, with confidence, with assurance, even when I would otherwise feel unsafe and uncertain. My steps are strong from the flow of my own being, and I see beauty and opportunity, the signs of learning and wisdom. I am truth, confidence, creativity, love. This is the power to accept. Feel the power.
Okay, so thank you so much once again for your time, and sorry to keep you waiting with more 8-9 minutes.
Okay, it's okay. Thank you, everyone. Really loved being with all of you. Have a wonderful day ahead. Om Shanti. Thank you. Thank you.